Coming in, Randall?
Yep. Shit, what week is it? What was week 43 last week? 42?
I'm not sure. It's called 43.
I think it's 44.
Well, it's August 4th.
August 4th, week 44, I think. I think last week was week 33. Another beautiful, sunny Bremerton day.
It is indeed. It's going to be hot. I think it's supposed to get up to 90 tomorrow.
You got a coaster over there?
Let's
see this one over here.
Let's see. You can use this one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 90 tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Time to beat the heat.
I'm from Texas. You don't know hot.
Randall's beating the heat with a nice cold Rainier.
Well, it's kind of a dry heat. Check the humidity factor on my new cut.
You're the upstage guy. You don't even know hot.
Yeah.
All right, let's try again. Week 44. What's going on in the world, John?
Well, working backwards, man. We had a couple of shootings last night. That's pretty crazy. I guess the bigger of the two was in El Paso. 20 people killed in the
Yeah, I
mall.
saw that.
And arrested without incident. Kind of bizarre, you know. I mean,
So immediately people brought up the gentleman who got choked out for smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, Eric Garner.
Yeah, so they're comparing him to... They're already throwing that comparison in there. I think it's strange to already be doing that. But I get the point. But my first thought was the screwdriver dude in Paulsbo.
Yeah.
You know? Like he just got mowed down by a cop for having a screwdriver.
well, that's still unknown what the circumstances were. And same with this one, but the guy probably just put his gun down and said, here I am.
But if you're a terrorist, you get shot, even if you lay your gun down.
That's not true.
No?
Nah, they're fucking, for the most part.
So a terrorist can lay out 10 U.S. soldiers on the war field, lay down his gun and surrender, and he's not going to get shot by other soldiers?
Yes.
Wow. That's surprising to me.
Unless she's actively trying to kill you and shit, it's a war crime.
Mm-hmm.
But for them, you know, they get shot, but technically you can't just go shoot them if they surrender, you know?
Yeah.
So if he runs out of bullets...
Now if he runs out of bullets, if he's shooting at you and he just happens to run out of bullets and it's a pointing a fucking gun at you, kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Before he can put his hands up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't know what happened in El Paso, but it doesn't sound good.
There's been a few this week.
Well, there's one date.
Garlic Festival.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
the Garlic
Garlic
Festival
Festival.
in California.
And then last night in Dayton, Ohio,
Right.
outside of a bar.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he's wearing a life vest. 24-year-old white
Life
male.
vest?
I mean,
Going swimming?
bulletproof vest. Yeah, life jacket. He was wearing a life jacket. With the fucking gun similar to an AK-47 apparently, and wanted to get into the bar, but they told him no. So then he just started shooting right there.
Jesus Christ, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I woke up. Most of us woke up to that one.
Let me in the club.
Yeah.
No. All right, then I'm gonna light it up.
Not with that life jacket.
Well, it sounds like he already knew what the fuck he was gonna do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Regardless
Yeah,
of
but
that.
that's the thing, is how much of it was inspired from the Ohio shooting, you know? Like, was there any residual there where this guy was, like, contemplating whether or not he wanted to do a mass shooting, and then he sees that and gets the bug under his fucking ass? Which leads the question, like, is this a thing where we should take momentum seriously with
Yeah.
gun violence, you know?
You know, I was just thinking too. Like, I wonder how much influence does social media and news
think it's huge.
influence that type of thing?
It's huge.
Because, like, real talk, I was going to make a joke, it was kind of a joke, but, like, shootings are trending this week, you know?
Yeah.
And, like...
I mean, if you go to Twitter, that's what's trending. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, you know... It's not. I don't think it's in poor taste to say that shooting is trending. I mean, what are they saying? I saw something that said 250 mass shootings in 215 days,
Yeah.
and a mass shooting is 4 people or more.
Yeah.
So you can have a drive-by shooting and 4 people die, and it's a mass shooting, but you don't hear about it because it's in Oakland.
Or Chicago.
Yeah,
Detroit,
or Chicago,
Baltimore.
Detroit, Baltimore.
Yeah. I just wonder, like, how inspired, you know, do these dudes get, you know, by seeing these headlines and stuff about like people shooting folks, and they're like, huh, I'd
It
want to
was
shoot
the same way with
somebody.
school shootings. Back when Columbine happened, there was a string of gun violence in schools after that. That peaked.
That and fucking stupid phone call bomb threats and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the media has a lot to do with it, and politics as well. Like this guy in El Paso was apparently a Trump supporter, so do you automatically just assume he was a racist?
Well, he said he was. You don't need to be a Trump supporter. I mean, you can be a Trump supporter and not be a racist, but, you know.
So how much of it does the president, get blamed for?
I don't think you blame them at all. I think you blame a person by the actions that they took upon themselves.
That'd be like saying you don't blame the gun.
No, that's not like saying you don't blame the gun.
We can blame it on the person.
Actually, it is saying like you don't blame the gun.
But Trump with this, having everybody chant. Now, he doesn't have everybody chant, send him back or go back where he came from, but obviously he's okay with it in a sense.
Yeah, he doesn't stop it.
Doesn't stop it. And
there's fine people on both sides. I mean, he's definitely adding fuel to the fire. And I think people do follow that kind of stuff. I mean, shit, advertisement works. I mean, there's a reason why they spend millions of dollars for a 30-second spot at the football game. Because people follow along with shit like that, People go out and buy a Budweiser because they see some fucking frogs saying Budweiser, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but people do it. So, yeah, I think people will follow along with what the president says regardless of,
we have a country very influenced by what they see.
Yeah, so I think he does have some responsibility. I mean, at least he should come out and say, hey, this is not okay.
Yeah.
He's come out with a strong statement saying, your racist tweets or posts on what he had a manifesto, the guy in El Paso, talking about, whites and Mexicans shouldn't mix races, and weird.
Huh. I might have to look that up. I haven't.
So I guess that let's address the elephant in the room. What kind of gun control do you think should come out of this? I mean, because we've been saying before it was a mental health issue first, and a gun problem second.
I've always said that.
Yeah, and I haven't really been much to say against that.
Well, the debates this week were pretty interesting. I watched all 6 hours of it.
Did they talk about guns at all?
Yeah. I can't remember who it was, but I'm wanting to say it was Yang. Because he said some pretty strong stuff. Same with that Williamson chick. I thought she said some pretty good stuff, but I think Yang said it's a health issue. It's a mental health issue. And maybe it was Inslee that said it.
Sounds like something Inslee would say.
I think it was Inslee, which kind of sucks because it's like
Washington.
Yeah, because Washington State is horrible with their mental health system.
Yeah.
And he's talking like he's this and that and the other thing. It's like we've got one of the worst homeless populations in the country, and he's up there saying, "Oh, I can fix the world." And it's like you can't even fix Seattle. So I have a hard time with that kind of bullshit. But yeah, I think they did bring up some healthcare stuff, and I think we need to have some more mental health stuff. I don't know if it would have prevented it.
I mean, but this guy, for example, this guy in Ohio, he's 24-year-old, young guy, so it's like, how much of it is mental health and how much of it is he was probably brought up by some bad motherfuckers?
Well, I mean, I think those are the same things.
Yeah.
And also education, he probably was raised fucking up, by some not very fucking smart people, and he probably was, call it what it is, man. Breeding stock is a fucking thing, and he probably was bred by some fucking idiots, and just took on the traits by genetics, you know what I'm saying? So I think totally it's a mental health fucking thing. Would like stricter fucking gun shit, prevent, people from getting guns, sure. But I think that there should be at least like a caveat to where like you fucking have to show competency, and your intelligence, and maybe even have to pass the fucking course, just like fucking with a car. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we should make heroin illegal. Oh, that's right. It's already illegal. And people are dying every day from heroin overdoses. Every single day. So put more regulations on that. That's not going to fucking help. You know, I mean, what more regulations can you do than saying it's illegal?
It's actually not a bad argument, even though one's a drug and one's a gun, because you almost feel like the gun gives people that same dopamine rush as a drug would, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've shot guns several times. Fucking different. Hell yeah! It's fun.
Why does anybody need one of those guns? It's like, why does anybody need a Ferrari? Or even a BMW for that matter?
I think in these situations where these people shoot up places and they get arrested and they survive, we need to do a serious profile of those motherfuckers, not just lock them up in exile. We need to figure out who, what, where, why, of the whole scenario to be able to further educate ourselves on how to prevent these kind of things from happening.
Yeah, that was one of the things I saw. You know, he posted this manifesto that was clearly racist stuff, but it doesn't come up in the algorithms because it's just a link to a manifesto. It doesn't say in the link, you know, here's some racist shit.
So it's not, so it's not actually his verbiage being used. He's just sharing stuff.
Right.
Well, see, that they need to fix that then.
Well, that's what one of the arguments says, that, you know, they've got the top psychologists and algorithms to figure out this shit. So they probably have a pretty good idea who's going to do this stuff based on a mathematical formula, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at the same time, you know, you should be able to say whatever you want. You know,
you should be able to say whatever you want, but there's always been consequences to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, free speech doesn't mean anti-consequence.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I feel like too, you know, we're talking about the algorithms and how they should be able to figure out like who's gonna do what when, or before they do it. You know, basically. That's scary to me. That's scary to me that you can be watched by someone that you're posting or whatever, and they just build this profile of you.
Oh yeah.
And
have you watched the Greatest Hack on Netflix?
I haven't.
It basically talks about that, how the whole analytics scandal with Facebook and
YouTube.
No, the other one, the big one,
Twitter?
Cambridge.
Oh,
So
Cambridge
Cambridge Analytics had all this information on all these people, and they were able to like basically profile them so that way they could do a search on just certain people. And then once you see all these certain people around the country, then you can target those people with ads, right? And it's just all online behavior. So essentially you could do the same thing with these racists and whatnot. You can have Cambridge Analytics, well they're no longer, but something like that, and say, here's all the people that fit a profile that could potentially be a shooter. And then you individually go and investigate each one of them. Do they have guns? What guns do they have? What do they have them for? You know.
I get you, and like it
There's
sounds like a really great idea, but for me it's like
there's definitely a privacy issue.
yeah, it's like the ends justify the means, you know, or you know, at that point it's gonna fucking start spilling over to other things. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's true. That's true.
You looked up, you know, people getting punched. You know what I'm saying, several times. You know, let's investigate this guy and see if he's a
A threat.
yeah, you know. I don't know. It's a nuanced fucking thing because, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's just like after 9/11. I mean, our country was spying on its own people left and right with no consequence, making arrests off just that. And granted, there was some legitimate arrests made of terrorist threats, but you're right. I mean, there is a privacy issue. There is.
Well, besides the privacy issue, I mean, the whole divisiveness of the internet is a real thing. Just like we're talking about, you know, does the president have anything to say? Well, yeah, he should come out and say something. He's the leader of our country, and he should say this is not okay, when this is the way we should behave, and you know. So I think that's important. But I think, you know, it goes back to the Russian hacks. I mean, the big thing that they did, and they're still doing it, just with that Face app that they had out. You know, I mean, they got everybody's data. I mean, they got everybody's pictures for the rest of eternity and access to anything else you put on there now. I mean, it's crazy that people just fall into that trap. And what they do with that stuff is make people divisive. So they'll say things like, if you're a Trump supporter, you know, I can all unfriend you. You know, it's like, you know, that's pretty insulting to a lot of people. It's like putting them all in one class. It's like, just like I said earlier, you can support Trump but not be a racist. Mm-hmm. You know, you might like his politics of draining the swamp or whatever, you know, but that doesn't mean that people that support him are necessarily bad people.
hell, I was just watching the fucking debate, with black Republicans and black Democrats. You know what I'm saying? And you know, obviously they're all black in the fucking room. You know what I'm saying? Like, you aren't a racist. You know? Yeah. I don't necessarily have to agree with your politics, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But or the person you're supporting. You know what I'm saying? But doesn't mean that you need to get ostracized or fucking
Right.
You know.
And only black people have the right to speak about black issues.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, I can't talk about senior citizens. I can't talk about children. I can't talk about women. What is, we're just going to pigeonhole ourselves even more? You know. So anyways, that's where that's at. But back to the debates, that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that, like I said, that Williamson.
You had me cracking up 'cause I was standing up there and you were like, "Yo, Red, come look at this. He squared up to him. He squared up to him."
Oh, yeah.
Fucking Cory Booker.
Yeah. Booker was just staring down Biden. And Biden was right. I mean, Booker was right.
Yeah, he was totally right.
So you're going to set the house on fire and then tell us how to put out the fire?
Yeah.
He's like, you're the one that created this mess. And then Kamala Harris got called out by the Hawaiian chick.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but she was getting her in Kamala.
Oh,
was just
yeah.
like fucking.
She's like, you arrested 1,500 people, put them in jail for smoking weed, and then you go on TV and laugh about it? That you smoked weed and how funny it was?
Oh, I was reading her brain. She was like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
I did do that.
Yeah, I just hate the way she talks, too. I mean, she's super rude during the debate. She just keeps going past her time. They tell her, thank you, Senator, thank you, Senator. She just keeps going and going and going. It's like, shut the fuck up.
She seems like a fucking super manipulator to me. Like,
Oh, yeah.
with the whole race and the woman card, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And she's just anecdotal all the time. She doesn't really say about the issue. She just talks about, I was that woman that was busted across. I was like, so was I. My brothers and sisters were busted across town, too. You know, when we were in elementary school. So I know all about the M&M.
So I believe that the person who's going to beat Trump is going to be whoever is the most opposite of Trump.
Nobody's going to beat him. But continue.
So out of all of the Democratic candidates, who would you say, policy-wise, is the most opposite of Trump?
Well, Yang is the one that says it the most, that he's the opposite of Trump, an Asian guy that likes math. I mean, that's what he keeps saying. But he's gained a lot of momentum over the last couple of debates, and at the very end, you know, he finally got some speaking points in, but at the very end, he's like, you know, giving us a 15-second soundbite and listening, you know, people criticize me for not wearing a tie up here. He's like, it's not about makeup, it's not about your tie, it's not about your talking point. We got a reality TV star who's our president now, so this is the, you know, and CNN plays right into it, you know, they give him these little sound bites, and they just, you know,
Splice it up.
Bernie Sanders even called him out on it. He says, you watch during the commercial break, the pharmaceutical companies are going to be sponsoring this debate.
Yep.
You know, so talk about who's getting paid for this. You guys are, you know, doing it.
And it absolutely fucking happened, you know what I'm saying?
Oil companies and pharmaceutical companies are always in the commercials. And
I like Yang, and I think that he has the best chance. And
I do like Yang, but I mean, like, if you look at the fucking polls, bro, like...
well, the media sets it up.
Well, not just that, but because there's already been talk about collusion with who's in the lead, Biden or Sanders.
Well, like CNN, I saw this thing that they showed the CNN, they had this specific area just for Warren signs, people with Warren, and this whole pit. And then they put Yang people way in the back so that he wouldn't even be visible. And it's like CNN is setting it up for them, you know, just like they did with Hillary and just like they're doing with Biden, you know, and Sanders is going to take away the votes from Biden again, and people are going to say, fuck it, and they're not going to vote again.
I like Yang's patience, though. So the way that I see it cracking down is just like at a final table at a poker game. If you have the most chips, then you just sit there and you wait, and you let motherfuckers knock each other out. And then when it gets down to 3 players, that's when you make your move.
Yeah, but, you know, right now he's only got a few chips, and Biden and Warren and Sanders have all the chips.
Well, no, his chips are his political points and agendas and what he wants to do as a president. So he's just going to sit back and let them all kill each other. And then basically when he comes out, he's still going to have some chips, not all of them, but he's going to play the right ones.
His chips are fucking his followers.
His supporters, not his
Well, I
policies.
mean,
so he's got very few supporters right now.
it makes more sense to say your campaign funds and your supporters would be your chip stack, yes.
Right, and so when they look at the polls and he's got 2% of the chips and they've got 30% of the chips.
He's going to have to do a lot of work from the beginning to the very
and
end.
like I said, it's set up by the media to
I'm
make
with
these
you,
guys
man. I
win.
never thought about that,
Yeah.
but like, it definitely is like, they tell you already from the front, you know, this is the person, you know.
It's just like the
Just
fucking,
like when they thought Hillary was going to be the winner.
Yeah.
it's just
People
like the
just, make
NBA
their minds
finals.
up.
If they can go to Game 7, they want to. They will go to
Yeah.
Game
Yeah.
7 so
Yeah.
they can get an extra sale. So they're gonna pit these fuckers against each other until the very end so they can get ratings. That's what it's all about. And that's what I like about some of these grassroots. You know, we haven't had it really with the internet before Trump. Trump was the first one that really scored on the internet.
Oh, Obama. Obama was known as the first internet president.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still,
Trump
now
just
it's much
uses it.
more. I mean,
Trump, it's much more
Cartoony.
analytical.
well, the
Nah,
whole
it's like-
Trump presidential with the Russian hacks was all about getting people to listen to this story and this story and this story. And the term fake news didn't come out until Trump, you know. So,
Yeah.
and I think he's right on a lot of that shit. And I've been saying that since I was 10 years old. It's like, why do they say the same thing on each news channel? I mean,
Yeah.
why is it all the same? It's been like that since I was a kid, you know.
And why is it obvious which side that they're on? You know, it
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't be.
Well, they passed some laws that they can lie about shit now too. So it's just like they made it so it's news. The only thing that you're not allowed to lie about in the news, the only thing, is weather. I swear to God, they by law they're not allowed to say.
Well, when the
that it's
internet
gonna be
first rolled out, you could say whatever you wanted online. You could lie online as much as you wanted to about anything.
Well, you still can, right?
He's talking about news though.
Like,
News,
yeah,
yeah.
like CNN, Fox, MSNBC, and that's why a lot of people are going more to the internet
I
for
forget
their
the
news.
term that they used to justify that. You know,
Entertainment, I think.
yeah, I think it's like they try to delineate between entertainment and what's news. You know, like and which is bullshit. You know, it's kind of like when you fucking look at like Alex Jones or fucking one of these motherfuckers that just cite like
that's
fucking
right.
bullshit.
They're just doing it for ratings.
Yeah, and they're like, oh well, it was just entertainment, but like, no, you fucking
But at the same time, it's good that we have that because now anybody can get up there. Pac-Man's up there, and he does his news show every day. Young Turks. I mean, there's all sort of different news medias that wouldn't be available if it wasn't for the internet.
Don't get me wrong, I like that it's available.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should fucking, you should be held accountable for it. You know, for your fucking rhetoric. You know, you can't just step back and say, oh, it was an act.
Well,
You're a news source, but then like, no, I'm an actor or I'm a
Entertainment source.
Yeah,
Yeah.
entertainment fucking source. You know, then when the shit fucking hits the fan.
I don't think you should be held accountable unless you're damaging somebody's personality or person or livelihood or something. That's what Alex Jones got in trouble for. It's because he was saying the Sandy Hook thing over and over,
Right.
and then those guys
I
were
mean,
like,
the Sandy
"Fuck
Hook
this."
thing, Pizzagate. There was
Yeah.
a few things that he did. You know, then people are like, oh, well, he's just, you know,
But if it
it's
wasn't,
an entertainment source. You know, and I'm like, no, you put this out like news and you say
Well,
these things.
yeah.
People follow you like this. You should be held accountable for that. Like,
Well, I don't know. If people want to be entertained by what they want to be entertained by, you know, who gives a fuck unless they're damaging somebody. But you know, Alex Jones has done a real service for the world when he started with the truther thing. You know, people can say what they want about inside jobs or whatever, but more and more people are saying, I mean, just like how long did it take for more than 50% of the population to say, yeah, there's probably another shooter for the JFK thing? I mean, that took forever for people to start saying, no, wait a minute. And that was just because the one Zapruder film, you know, that short clip.
Well-
But now we got all this 9/11 clips, like, you know, most people don't even know about Building 7, and it's like, you know, why don't they know about these things? You know, my father's a huge news hound, reads the Wall Street Journal every day, you know, and the New York Times and Time Magazine and all sorts of shit. He didn't know what Building 7 was. No idea.
yeah.
So,
And see, that you actually just made it more problematic for me. So I'm not saying that Alex Jones hasn't done some shit that you know, like that, you know, but like he blurs the lines.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do this, then have a different medium, you know, because you're gonna incite. You're blurring the fucking lines of whether you're strictly entertaining or you're trying to inform, you know. And he does all these fucking things. And he says his stuff, and he gets his ignorant fucking people, and he incites this shit on the same medium that he's using to inform you. You know?
yeah.
I think it should be up to the viewer to determine whether that's bullshit or not. You know?
Absolutely.
I agree too, but like it's like Trump or whatever, everything. But anyway, like you know who the fuck's watching you for the most part, and you know it's more than likely some fucking idiots.
Well, I have a hard time getting through Rachel Maddow just as much as I do getting through any of the Fox guys. O'Reilly, he's gone now, but I don't even know.
I got you.
So, and they're just constantly saying just sarcastic crap
Sucker
all the
crossing.
time, and yeah, just saying nasty things. It's like, come on, what are we in fucking high school? Tell us the story.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Amazing Patty.
Yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
She's a conservative Christian, but man, she does her homework, man. She's got all these articles cross-referencing this and that and the other thing, and investigating these, like the Epstein thing, all the way down to his hiring at the, in 72, 73, all kinds of shit. Same with Joe Rogan. I like his entertainment in a sense, but he's definitely informative. Some of the speakers that he comes on.
Yeah.
You listen to 3 hours from an MIT professor, you're going to learn something, and, and Rogan's going to throw in, fuck every once in a while, and that's good. But, yeah. What else is going on in the world?
I don't know. We fucking spent a pretty good chunk of time like that.
I honestly thought the whole episode was going to be about politics and guns, so I'm not
Well,
surprised.
I don't think anything's really changed with politics and guns. I mean, they're going to say, this kid was crazy. This guy was crazy. And why should people that aren't crazy being restricted to their gun rights?
Oh, what the fuck?
I guess we're done.
Yeah.
Well, that was easy.